And then you to John Brady, who has 30 seconds to introduce.
Minister, I would like to know how much your department are spending this year on the school meals programme, given the cuts the Minister has made to the school meals programme for this school term.
2 minutes.
The school meals programme provides funding towards the provision of food to schools and organisations benefiting over 200,000 children at a total cost of some £47.7 million during 2017. For the current academic year, which is 2016 to 2017, a total of £44 million has been allocated to schools under the scheme. Funding for the scheme was increased this year as part of Budget 2017 by an additional £5.7 million. That's a 14% increase over the previous year's allocation, so that will benefit about 50,000 children. The allocation for the scheme has significantly increased over a series of budgets, from £35 million in 2012 to a current allocation of £47.7 million, which is an increase of 35% since 2012. During this period, priority for new applications for funding has been given to schools which are part of the DESH programme. From September 2016, additional funding is being provided to DESH schools already participating in the scheme to provide breakfast and lunch to a majority of pupils. In addition, a further 21 DESH schools have joined the scheme this academic year. Budget 2017 also provides for the inclusion in the scheme from September 2017 of another 80 schools that aren't currently part of DESH but have recently been deemed as requiring support in the recently launched DESH plan, which was launched by Minister Richard Bruton the other day. There is also some provision towards the extension of the scheme to breakfast clubs in non-DESH schools, and that will kick in from September 2017, which is the first time in many years that increased payments are being provided to schools that are outside of DESH. And I have particular interest in doing that because, as you know, the majority of children who suffer disadvantage don't actually attend DESH schools, they attend other schools. Priority will be provided to those schools where there is the most need.
Minister, I've been contacted by a primary school principal in a DESH school who accidentally discovered that the school's meals programme has been cut and that by May they will not have enough funding to carry them through till the end of the year. And as I stated, Minister, that principal only found out by accident that the funding had been cut after contacting the department because they had taken in a number of additional pupils into the school, contacted the department to see could they get additional funding, and the department told them that no, there will be no additional funding. In fact, you're only getting 90% funding as to what you got last year. And the fact that the department did not notify that school that the school's meal programme was going to be cut is alarming. Now, on foot of that, I've contacted a number of other principals in DESH schools who subsequently contacted the department to be told that they also will be only going to get 90% funding as to what they did get last year. So can I ask the Minister, what are principals in those schools supposed to do when the funding dries up in May? Will the Minister go into the schools and take, select the 10% kids in the schools who aren't going to get fed? And what is the Minister going to do?
1 minute, the Minister applies to you.
Yeah, I honestly don't know why that should be the case. If you want to give me the names of schools now, that's fine. If not, you can give them to me afterwards. Because overall, the funding provided for the scheme has been increased substantially by Minister Burton before me and increased again for this year. So I don't understand why that is the case. I'm not saying it's not the case, but if you want to give me the details of it, or even now the particular schools, I'll certainly have that examined.
Final question, Deputy.
I appreciate that. I certainly will pass on the details, but it isn't an isolated incident. Schools, principals are now being informed of this, not being notified. Principals are contacting the department and they're being told that you're only getting 90% funding as to what you got in the previous year. So there's serious difficulties here facing schools, and this is DESH schools that I'm talking about. School children that are in some of the most deprived areas in the state are now going to run out of funding at the end of May. there's going to be a full month, at least a month, that they're not going to have any funding in place whatsoever. I welcome the fact that you have taken on, I think, 21 additional desk schools into the programme, and I'd ask the question as to whether there is sufficient funding in place to ensure that each of those schools are getting 100% funding as they had been in the previous year. And I think that's where the crux of the problem here is, that the Minister or the Department has extended this but not ensured that all the schools are getting 100% funding. So can I ask the Minister, if this is clarified and there is a problem identified, will the Minister ensure that every school will get 100% funding so that no school child will go hungry when the funding runs out at the end of May?
Thank you, David Brady. Minister, final.
Yeah, we don't anticipate an underspend in this area or an overspend, so the funding is there. What is the case is that certainly when it comes to the additional funding being provided to the deaf schools participating in the scheme, provision is for breakfast and lunch for up to 90% of children. But that's been the case for quite some time. That's not a change or a cutback in any way. That's been the case as far as I can see, for certainly in relation to additional funding, but also prior to that as well.
Question number 20.